Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. And guys, I'm tired, it's late, but I just got done watching Gummo on 4K from the Criterion collection. I'm like, you know what? I wasn't planning on doing a review for Gummo, but I feel compelled to do so now after watching it because everybody, I feel like, sold this movie wrong to me. They sold it all wrong to me, and I have to talk about like my actual thoughts on this movie, and I want to sell it to you all out there properly because I just don't feel like I was sold this movie right. So before we get into it though, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We talk about all things physical media here on this channel. I reviewed Godzilla on 4K from the Criterion collection just a few days ago, so you can go check that out. But yeah, we talk about all kinds of physical media, guys, upcoming news stories, we do reviews, unboxings, I show off my collection, just all kinds of stuff. If you like physical media, guys, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and then comment down below what's your thoughts on Gummo from 1997, directed by Harmony Korine. So let me get into my thoughts on the movie first, and then we'll talk about the 4K. Now, I believe that this is a first time to not only 4K, but also Blu-ray as well. I think the only release that Gummo had was a DVD release. So that's very cool that Criterion went in to upgrade this film. But Harmony Korine is a director that, of the two movies that I've seen of his, one was Spring Breakers, which is an A24 film, and he also did a movie called Beach Bum, and I think Matthew McConaughey was in that movie. I thought those movies were okay. I didn't love those movies. I didn't hate those movies, but I thought they were okay. Now, Gummo was his first feature film from, like I said, back in 1997, and back in 1997, like I was 12 years old, like a movie like Gummo was not on my radar at all at this time. I was watching Face Off. I was watching, Con Air, like movies like that, blockbusters like that. It's actually amazing to think, like around that time I was watching those movies, a movie like this existed. Because look, Gummo to me, like this was incredible. Like I thought this was actually a legitimately incredible film. It reminded me of like early A24, and I just talked about Spring Breakers, which was early A24. That was back in 2012 that came out. But I'm talking more like A24, like when they started going, but still kind of a while ago, back in 2016, 2017, when they were doing movies like American Honey, The Florida Project, also mid 90s, just like these really like raw, real depictions of like life. And this movie it's just like you're a fly on the wall, like watching actual life. And the director actually explained it in the special feature. The movie's just like a collage of different characters, of different situations, of like this town with all these impoverished kids who are having to deal with like the destruction of their town, like post this big tornado that came in and killed people and killed family members to some of these kids, like fathers, mothers, brothers. Like it came through and just destroyed this town. And it's these kids and also some adults, but they really just focus on the kids, like just struggling with their existence after this horrible natural disaster occurred. Now, they don't really focus on like the natural disaster and what actually happened as much, but like that's the setup to all of these characters. Like you have these two kids who I would say are kind of the lead, kids, and I forget their names. I don't remember anybody's names like ever anymore, guys. But you have these two kids. They're like hunting cats in the town. They're delivering the cats to the local grocery store. They're competing with other kids who are also out hunting cats because they're kind of coming in on their territory and stealing their cats to hunt. Like, it's a wild movie for sure. And it is like, I understand, like, because people were selling this to me like it's bonkers, it's batshit, it's just weird, uncomfortable, disturbing stuff. And I could see that, like, it is that stuff from like a certain point of view and perspective. But like, honestly, like I haven't lived in areas like that, but I've known people from areas like that. I have visited areas like that. Like I did grow up in a small town, a smaller like country town, and there were areas of like the actual like in town that were like this movie. Like there were kids that went to my school that were like the kids in this movie. Like I knew people like this in my real life. So to me, like watching this movie, it's real. Like there are 100% people like this in real life. Like they exist, and you may think it's bonkers and batshit and weird, like if you've never been around it, but it's real. So I'm watching this movie like like this is real life. Like this happens. Like this is how people act. Like in some cases, it doesn't even have to be a tornado that came in and tore up the town. Like it's just people living in that are in impoverished circumstances and are poor, and their parents just don't give a crap anymore, and they let them roam free and do whatever they want. So I just thought the movie was incredible. It was really like this fly on the wall like scenario. Like I'm just watching these people live their life, and they're all just incredibly interesting and engaging characters, and they're also very endearing as well. Like you don't, I don't want to say you necessarily feel sorry for them, but you kind of feel sorry for them. Like you don't necessarily like want them to succeed. Like the movie doesn't really look at it from that perspective. It's not like they're looking at these kids and they're like, how can we get them out of this? Like, how can they succeed? Like nobody in the movie is trying to make anything of themselves or anything like that. So it's not like you're rooting for them to do anything. But you're just interested in them. You're endeared to them. You're engaged in what they're doing because they are very interesting, characters to watch. And I just thought this was a great movie. I really did. Like it reminded me a lot of those early A24 movies, and I just get completely engrossed in films like this. Even if it's completely wild and batshit and bonkers, like the scene where they're wrestling a chair in the kitchen, like that's one of the best scenes of the entire movie. It's ridiculous and it's hilarious, but also it's like, I feel like I've been in situations like that at like parties where people just do stupid, insane things when I was a kid. So to me, like this movie, it was a trip, but it was also just like so incredibly beautiful at the same time, because it is just looking at real life. Like it's not movified in any way. Is that a word, movified? It's just like real and it's raw. And I love movies like that. So I really did love Gummo. I actually thought it was incredible. And the only real actress in this movie that I recognized was Chloe Sevigny, who's been in a lot of stuff. She was in American Psycho, but she's been in tons of other stuff. And I didn't realize, like, again, she was acting like she had to have been like 20 or 21 when she was in this movie. She was actually the costume designer on this film as well. So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, I just, I don't know, guys. Like, I need to check out more of Harmony Korine's work. His earlier work, because I was just fascinated by this movie and I loved it. And also, like, so ahead of its time. Like, this was 1997. It felt like a movie that could have been made today, like the kind of movies that they make today. So I give it up to this movie. I thought it was great and I loved it. So again, I feel like people sold me this movie wrong. Like, they kind of dismissed it as this kind of just like batshit bonkers like movie that just is crazy. And it is that. But it's also so much more than that. Like it's life and it's beautiful. And I love this movie. I really did. I really love this movie. Now getting into the 4K here from the Criterion Collection, like Criterion did a hell of a job. And starting off, like the movie like goes back and forth. It really has like a very artistic style to it, because it's going back and forth between like home video footage, and also like actual film footage, because it is an actual movie. So when it starts off, I'm like, oh, is this whole movie like this? But it's not. It actually becomes a movie. But the 4K is a native 4K. You got Dolby Vision. You got HDR10. And like I was saying, like it felt like an A24 movie. Like it looked like a modern movie. Like if you would have told me, like it looked so good, so incredible on 4K. If you would have told me that this is a movie that just came out a week ago from A24, I would have believed you. I would have 100% believed you. Like it looked that good. It looked like a modern film. It really did. And again, it reminded me of that A24 style. So I thought the 4K was incredible. The HDR, like I'm not going to say it's the most colorful movie in the world, but it's real life and there are colors in real life, and you see those colors enhanced, and the outfits that the people are wearing are enhanced, and the actual like setting and scenery. No joke. I'm watching this movie and I'm going to put this picture in here. The kids are sitting in this other house, like they go to visit this house, and they're sitting there, and there's a wooden wall behind them, and there's an art piece, a piece of art decor on the wall. I had that exact same art piece in my house growing up. For the entire time I lived in my house with my parents growing up, I think all 14 years we lived in that house, we had that art piece on the wall. It was right next to the microwave, and I'm sitting there looking at it, and it looks so familiar, and I take a shot of it, and I sent it to my sister, and I'm like, was this in our house growing up? And she's like, yes, we had that next to the microwave growing up. And I'm like, that's just wild. Like this painting that I hadn't thought about since I lived in my parents' house, shows up in this movie. And I just thought that was amazing. Like, it literally blew my mind for sure. But the movie, the scenery, the setting, looked amazing. It all looked amazing in 4K. Criterion did such a great job. Like I said, this is, I'm pretty sure, guys, an upgrade from DVD. So if you have this on DVD, like, it's 100% worth the upgrade because it looked absolutely stellar on 4K. Now, getting into the audio, you just had the DTS HD Master Audio 2.0. I imagine that's the same audio that was present in the previous release. No need to upgrade this to Dolby Atmos or 5.1. 2.0 is perfectly fine for a movie like this. Getting into the packaging, guys, I already unboxed this in another video that I did. But you got the front, you got the artwork right there, which makes a lot of sense once you watch the movie. There's a character that walks around with bunny ears the whole film, and then he sits on the toilet and plays the accordion. But it's great artwork. It's fantastic artwork for sure. You got the spine right there, and you got the back with the synopsis and special features, which we'll get into here in a second. Now, this is spine number 1238, and we'll open it up. You got 2 discs on the inside. You got a 4K, and you got a Blu-ray right behind it. And then you got a nice little brochure on the inside that gives you some information on the film, which is really cool. Bam, bam, bam. Now, there are some good features here. There's only one new, and this is where I honestly think Criterion at this point is lacking compared to some of the other labels, because there's only one like new interview here with Harmony Korine. It's about 11 minutes long. It's a great interview. He kind of goes through all the characters in the movie and just kind of explains them, and then explains his thought process when he made the movie. He was only 23 years old when he made this film, so it makes this movie all the more impressive knowing that. There's also a conversation from 1997 with Harmony Korine and filmmaker Werner Herzog as well, which I didn't listen to. It's about an hour long, but it's an older interview. If you want to listen to that, that is in here as well. And there's a split screen projections episode from 2000 featuring Korine in conversation with host John Pearson. So I guess that was a show from back on the day. Then there's a trailer, and I don't know. I do not think there is a commentary here. There is no audio commentary, which would have been nice for sure, but no audio commentary. But yeah, a little lacking in special features. That's one kind of negative. But the one, feature that they have, new feature they have with Harmony Korine is a great feature. And I'm sure it's a great conversation between him and Werner Herzog as well. But overall, guys, look, I just had to talk about this. I honestly did, because I overlooked Gummo. I kind of dismissed it as well when it got announced in the Criterion Collection. And now it's one of my favorite first-time watches of the year. So that just goes to show you, like, this is why I blind buy. Like, this is a perfect example of why I blind buy stuff, and I jump into stuff that I may or may not like, because I will find a movie that I absolutely fall in love with. And I loved Gummo. I thought it was great. So I'm so happy to have this in the collection now. I'll definitely be watching it again in the future. And like I said, the 4K looks great. So if you've seen this movie and you're a fan of it, the 4K is great, and I 100% recommend the upgrade. As for the movie itself, it's not going to be for everybody. I would say if you like that A24, like independent, like super independent style, like The Florida Project and American Honey with Shia LaBeouf, if you like those kind of movies, I think you'll like Gummo. But, I can't recommend this movie to everybody, but I know that I loved it. So I had to talk about it. Thank you all so much for watching my review of Gummo. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And then be sure to leave your comments on the film in the comments section below. Turn on bell notifications for all future videos, and follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.